Okay, yes. Hi, we're live. We're live. How's everyone? What's up, guys? Okay, basically, welcome to the Three Marketeers Show. As you know, we started our first episode last week. It was really exciting because a lot of people actually came live and really support us. For those who supported, thank you so much. And for those who are new to us, basically what we're trying to do here is, just three of us. These three of us, and we are all marketers. Basically, what we do is, we're trying to put together what we have learned as a Facebook advertiser and digital marketer to really give some value to whoever that they kind of like wants to get inspired or wants to learn a little bit from our experience in terms of digital marketing and Facebook advertising. So today we're going to talk about copywriting, and when it comes to copywriting, to be very frank, three of us has got really different approach. And but before we jump right into the topic, let's go one round and introduce. We have Manfred from Singapore and we have Andrew from Malaysia. Come, Manfred, go one round and share with us what you do, like in your past life and current life. Come on.
Okay, that was referring to the last episode. So
right.
That's gonna stay with you forever, man.
Yeah. When I met Jason, I told him I don't know what I don't know. So I have a tendency to read a lot and try a lot of things. And marketing is a very interesting thing, especially in terms of market research. Jason commented that I'm quite particular about details, and hence I do a lot of market research, reading and trying out things. So digital marketing is really fun, and we test and see what's the response. So over to Andrew.
Andrew. So what's your story over here?
I run the digital marketing unit for a cybersecurity company. So most of my writing is basically or customers or prospects of B2B.
Right.
So it's slightly different when you do B2C.
But, correct. That's right. But the whole idea here is we want to bring together whatever we have. So for those who are new to me, my name is Jason. I'm your host tonight. And what I've been doing the past 10 years or so is to really help people navigate success with effective Facebook advertising and digital marketing. So, I do training. Basically, I do quite a number of training since 2016. I also help brands. I coach brands. And the reason why we do this, the Three Marketeers Show, is really to share whatever we have. And the reason why we talk about copywriting is because this is one of the topic, in my opinion. There are a lot of school of thoughts, as in like different people have different approach of looking at copywriting. Some people write to sell, some people write to convince, some people write to inspire, some people write to capture attention. So how do you write? Please. Is there anything? Andrew, how do you write? Are you with me, Andrew?
Yep.
Yeah. How do you write? Yeah. A bit of delay.
For B2B mostly is some form of we do quite a lot of content writing. But my personal experience is we don't have a big team. So how I got involved in writing is you Chinese used to say when the horse dies, you come down and walk. So I got involved in doing most of the writing and kind of stumbled into this world of copywriting. But it's also one of my passion and interests. When I was younger, I always, like I say, in the last episode, I used to cut out ads, to understand how people communicate. So there is this combination of a lot of debate is copywriting versus content writing. Are they the same? Those days it used to be quite distinct, but now with social media and all those things, the lines kind of blurred because end of the day, both medium are also aiming to sell. My take is when you do copywriting, primarily is to sell an idea, sell a product. It's kind of direct. Whereas the content writing is the education path that try to influence you or try to basically use the education or content or information to draw the customers in and says, by the way, I'm talking about safety and all those things, and the innovation of safety belt, for example, and all those things.
Right.
But Volvo has we patented this, and that's how we are one of the safest car. And so this indirect way of selling by providing information and value. So that's how the way I look at it when you do copywriting and content in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about writing your ad? What's Manfred's take when it comes to copywriting? What is your approach in terms of writing an ad?
Yeah, I think you know me very well. I'm a
Right.
research person. So
Yes, you are.
for me, I think that most of the copywriters ignore how important market research is really. And if you don't know the flavor of your candy that you're selling and the kids who love it, there's absolutely no chance of actually becoming a successful copywriter. So sometimes to keep it simple, you must be the masteries of psychological triggers like simple things like greed. People are greedy, lazy, or
True.
fear. And I always find inspiration. There's one website actually I find it not bad. It's called reallygoodemails.com. Jason, want to type it out?
What is that?
Really good emails.
Really, REALLY.
REALLGOD emails.
Wait, REALLGOD.
GOOD, then
Okay.
emails with s.com.
Really good emails.com.
Yeah, very, very good and catchy name. You type
Really,
it out, put inside the
really.
comment.
Is this one?
Yes,
Really
yes,
good
correct.
emails.com.
Reallygoodemails.com, correct.
Okay. So what about that? What about that?
I find it quite good. There's a lot of information you can see how people do because unfortunately Singapore education is copy and modify. That's
Actually, I totally agree with copying and modifying. You see, because the whole idea here is, I always believe since I was young, since I started marketing, right? I was taught this thing where good marketers are copycats.
Yep.
So for the longest time, I'm not saying that I'm not innovative. I'm not saying that I'm not creative, but a lot of times we can actually shorten our learning curve by looking at what is already working.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I like what you shared last week, right? I think this is one of the very good nuggets that our audience can take away, which is when you want to do a copywriting, when you want to write an ad, or when you want to write a landing page or anything when you're writing, you should actually look at, just last episode you were sharing, Google Keyword Planner can help you research about what are the keywords that is really working for your competitor's website and all this kind of thing, which you can use these for your own benefit. Now, another thing that I really like to share with our audience here is that, when you are running in Facebook ads, this is what we do, right? Whether it's an ad or copywriting or design or whatever, I think we can also look at how people are doing. You see, most of the time, whatever we are selling, there must be some competitors or there must be some role model that we look up to.
Yes,
And chances are they're already running ads, right? So we can actually look at how they write. Of course, I'm not saying that you want to copy just like, everything that what they are actually doing. But if we are able to get some good nuggets from there and modify, it actually makes our life slightly easier. Being lazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to add on that, I think good copywritings require a lot of reading. That actually we especially on psychological books.
Yeah.
There's this guy called Robert Cialdini. His book's called Influence. I haven't finished reading. Yeah, I haven't finished reading, but just a few points. So like you need to input a reciprocity, as in internal pool to really pay what another person has provided. This reminds me of Gary V's jab, right hook. So you give,
Right hook. Okay.
give, then the time is right, you can ask it back. This is one of the ideas.
Right.
Then the other idea is social proving. Again, when we are unsure, we look to similar other people to provide us correct action. So about social proving, I just want to elaborate a bit more.
Come.
In Singapore, Malaysia, if you see people queuing for the char kway teow, I am new to this place. If I'm new in KL, if I see people queuing for char kway teow and I got time, I will queue also. Social
That
proving.
makes sense.
If people queue means it's good, then the other guy no queue. Unless you really no time, then you will buy from the other char kway teow. If the char kway teow is long queue, people make an effort. Social proving.
Okay. I don't argue on that. I think that's makes sense.
I'm not saying social proving is stupid. Okay, there's few more points. More points more. Then liking. The ability that let people like people we like, and as well, it's important that people like us. Okay. And of course, very common authority, when people like to say yes to people who are authority like you, who carry great knowledge and experience or expertise. Okay. And finally, scarcity. Okay. Sometimes it's less available, and dwelling inability, people will take action. So these are the few points. So I say again, reciprocity, Social Proving, Liking, Authority, and Scarcity from this book from Robert Cialdini's Influence. Yeah, I'll try to finish it. Yeah.
I think it's Robert Kennedy Influence. Okay. Later you type it up to
maybe
the.
I type it out. Maybe you
type it up to the private chat, and I bring it back to the comment and share with everyone.
Can, no problem. I will.
So, I mean, another angle that I think I want to bring up basically is, like when it comes to copywriting, I mean, let's bring it back to the advertisement writing at the moment. I think that's more like a core topic. Of course, copywriting involves a lot more aspects. We do know that other than ads writing, we do have copywriting for your landing page, copywriting for your email, and that's a lot of ways, basically for different medium, right? We will have different way of writing. But I think I want to actually bring it back to our context here, which is copywriting for your Facebook ads, for your advertisement. Now, in my opinion, I always have this kind of argument where I do believe, this is my opinion, of course, it's totally arguable. I would welcome everyone to come and debate with me. Now, in my opinion, I think copywriting is actually, when it comes to Facebook advertising, I think copywriting is to capture intent. Now, this is my argument. Now, when you are, let's say, for example, when this is very classic argument where when you're running an ad for a property development, for a property project, okay, when you're running an ad to this group of people, no matter how much you write about the feature, the pricing, the rebate that you have and all this kind of thing, right? If a person has no intention of buying a property, no matter how many times they scroll through that ad, they won't look at it. They won't even bother to stop and take a look. However, what I'm actually arguing here is that when you are actually going out as an advertisement, all we are trying to do here is not about selling. It's about capturing intent, because in most of the time, the selling can't be done before the click, can't be done on the social media. It can't be done on Facebook. It can't be done on Instagram. That's, of course, my argument, because in most of the time, people need to do it after the click, whereby people need to come over to your website. People need to come over to submit your phone number to start talking to you. Then only they will start. So my way of copywriting, the way I look at it is, I'm more like writing to capture intent. But what is your take?
I agree with you. Capturing the intent is important. Qualifying the audience is very important.
But what about those people who write long copy? But what is your habit? Do you like to write long or short copies?
I think
depending on how much time you have.
Depending on content.
Andrew, yes, depending on the content, yes.
When you write for B2B,
right,
you tend to have to write longer because there are technical information. You got to explain how it's being used. So you end up back up with videos and multiple pages and all those things. But one thing I want to see is, I was involved in the newspaper industry in my early days.
Right.
And in classifieds ads, I was selling ads with Straits Times. And when I saw those ads that was being produced, because when you're young, you basically there's no life. So what I do is, my schedule is 9 to 5. I go out and sell ads, and from 6 to 7, I actually spend most of my time in the production floor. And that's where you get exposed to all those ads, the copies that comes in, and when they prepare for what. Compared to now, that was like 20 plus years ago. Compared to now, is those days you write ads because you want to create a desire. And
you write ads because you want to create a desire. Come again, let me capture that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you write ads. The ad copy was aimed to create a desire, because when you run the newspaper, you can't do targeting.
Okay.
It's to everybody. So if I want to sell a financial services, or I want to sell a financial service, for example, and I target, let's say Straits Times or Star, it's going to go to everybody, from the news vendor to the CEO. And the only way is through the copy is to sort of get the, try to hopefully get the 1% or 2% people that you want to talk to. But now, if you move forward with social media, with Facebook ads and all things, we can actually do deep targeting.
True.
So instead of writing for desire, which is very, very tough, because you got to try multiple angles to come in to write, because it could be an emotional angle. Certain people are logical, and you have to write logical angle. But when you do with Facebook and now with social media and all those things with deep targeting, now is the angle of writing is try to get into like what Robert Collier, one of the so-called the OGs of copywriting, is to get into the conversation that's happening inside the prospect's mind.
The conversation that is happening inside the prospect's mind.
So, for example, if I want to sell an SUV or I want to sell an MPV, for example, I'll be targeting people with families.
Okay.
Now, which the targeting side, and Jason, you're an expert in FBS. The targeting side can be actually done through Facebook when you do the audience interest and all those things.
That's true. That's true.
All I need to do now is to figure out what are these prospects who are maybe looking for MPV. What are the key points? What are the key pain points on an interest? Generally, people buy because one, they want pleasure. The other one is to minimize pain. Irrespective whether you're selling B2C or B2B, there's generally these two angles, right?
True.
I can target people already, so I now basically have to speak that language that people who are looking for MPVs. It could be space, it could be safety, it could be convenience, it could be the height.
True.
Right? And it could be maybe how many isofix points are there, because generally there's other younger kids, for example, or
right.
Or if it's teenagers. Chances are teenagers nowadays will go with parents, so very likely that it's between baby all the way to 10, 12 years old. So those are the key points. Those are the things you do. See. So in writing is slightly different from that on. The approach will be slightly different.
Yeah, I think this relates to my just recent experience that I'm actually working with my coachee that they're doing property development. And because one of the biggest challenge when it comes to property is a lot of times it is actually location bound in a way. Like when you're selling a residential project, for example, it's very difficult for you to sell beyond. But it is still possible to sell beyond. But I was actually advising them that if you want to sell beyond, like for example, if you are selling a Penang property and you're trying to market it to Kuala Lumpur, which is KL, which is fair, because we have a lot of Penangites working in KL. And then we also have some Penangites working in Singapore. And Singaporeans actually, when everything was okay, now you can't do that because of the lockdown, you can't travel to view. But, back then when we were doing good time, when we were actually doing property project marketing for our clients, especially property project, I tell you, we really can get a lot of interest coming from Singapore, Hong Kong, and all these places because, Penang, being Penang. But I would strongly recommend that when we want to do that, you're right. When I agree with you that when we are able to target, we are supposed to be able to tailor our content towards their need, as in like we speak to their lingo. Like when you're selling to KL, like for example, you are trying to market Penang project to KL, you can't talk about how beautiful is the place because they won't be staying there. But the desire would be they probably are buying for their parents or they're probably buying for their future investment and all these kind of things. So the angle cutting in for the copywriting should be tailored towards. But I would say, in this scenario, right, what we should be looking at is we use the visual, which is the creative, as a hook. And then when we hook them in and we use the copy to convince, as in that we tell them what action we want them to take, which is a natural thing, you see. Because when it comes to Facebook advertising, my methodology is always about how do you send the right people, the right message to command for the right action. So the right people being the audience, the right message being the copy and the creative and the right action. So this three things has to work very much together, right? So I think that validates that. But I guess when it comes to copywriting, there are different, because to be very frank, in I don't know what happened to Singapore. When it comes to Malaysia, I tell you, there are 4,652 gurus talking about copywriting. No, I'm just exaggerating. But I don't know. The whole world is talking about copywriting, and everybody claims to say that copywriting is going to get you all this kind of thing. But what do you think? Do you think copywriting is the main thing, or is there anything else that is going to be the main thing when it comes to Facebook advertising? To be more specific, when it comes to advertising.
Just to sidetrack a bit, when you mention a specific number in your speech or in your copywriting, it gives credibility.
Yeah.
Especially if the number ends with a 7. Why 7? Is because it's
okay,
a number.
7. Okay.
Yeah, our dear friend from ClickFunnels wrote that. And I kind of agree I think there's some research that number ends with 7 actually sells better than number ends with 9. Can't remember where.
Really?
So it comes back to my point that sometimes people are making buying decision based on emotion, intuition, and subconscious. And therefore, if you tap into the sphere of this marketplace, and the more accurate your offer looks, more attractive. And the best, when we're talking about so many theory, I think I'll give you a role model.
Come.
The most amazing salesperson is Donald Trump. Yes, I know today the news, he got COVID. I'm not talk about COVID, because I find him very fascinating the way he uses his language differently from other political leaders. Okay, as a lifelong salesperson, he has a strong urge to sell feeling. People can feel you. Half the battle is won already. And honestly, some of his ideas, in fact, most of his ideas are just simply racist or just plain incomprehensible. Okay, but you notice how simple his language is. Most of the words he uses is one syllable. Okay, and often his speech is coming like boxing or a series of jabbing, ending with a buzzword. Then his speech is comparable to a 4th grade reading level.
4th grade?
Yes, and that means that he reach out to more people, and more people understand what he's trying to say. That's amazing, really. And notice he tend to have very simple sentences construction. He don't use complex words that people don't understand. He loves to give command in his speech, like look at Paris, look at California, and often implying that we have agreed with his sentences. And he likes to arrange his sentences to end it strong. So normally you will say that you can't solve a problem until you find out what the root cause is. But is not the correct and word, right? So he moved the is forward, become you can't solve a problem until you find out what is the root problem. Then you emphasize the root problem at the end. It is more for speeches. So when all these buzzwords added together, it forms his speech, And in some sense, this buzzword is all the audience will remember. And he always keep it simple and repeat a lot of times. And he truly examples the best salesperson that sells you a TV without knowing what the TV is. Because the TV doesn't matter. It is you, the audience, that matters most. So he really caught my attention. And I hate to say this, most likely he will win.
Okay.
You hear it from me, most likely he will win.
This is already gone on Facebook and YouTube. It's all everywhere. You say that, okay?
Joe Biden, I've been hearing his speech. I cannot put him in a bucket, But he is very clear. Okay. Make America great again. That was his last one. So he's very clear.
Yeah, I think I can relate. Because in one of my, when we're actually teaching copywriting, because to be very frank, I'm not really an expert of copywriting, but after doing Facebook ads for many years, we sort of know how certain things work. One of the things that I really learned in a hard way, of course, we spend a lot of money, most of the time clients' money, but a lot of times it's clients' copy. But what we realize is when you're able to punch the keyword, such as buy, sale, you kind of like internalize to the audience's mind, and then it kind of like hypnotize. I'm not sure whether this is really hypnotizing, but it leads people towards the action. That's why I always like to emphasize, when you're running an ad, right, you must tell people what you want them to do. So it's very difficult for you to tell the whole damn story about how good is this thing, but at the end of the day, you didn't tell. You just leave them hanging and say that, see, we are so good. Then, what are you? I have read the whole damn thing. I know you are good. Then what the hell you want me to do? Because
the ending must have the CTA.
The punch thing, right? That's why, So the CPA must be instilled everywhere. That's what I think. So I think this is my recent experiment also. I think I can resonate with what you mentioned just now. My copywriting for my recent campaign is very simple. Just saying that this is what I do. This is what you do with me. This is what is the outcome that we're going to get. And this is the price. We keep it in 2 sentences. Andrew and I, we just experimented this thing, right? It just worked.
Yeah.
It just worked. I think this kind of like gives a very, very clear idea to kind of like, what we have been preaching all this while. Yeah. I agree with you. I think I'm not sure about Donald Trump thing, but keep it okay. Keep it simple. I think it's really the thing, because a lot of times, certain people just write too flourish words kind of thing. Yeah. So when you try to, I don't know, when you're trying to sell a clothes, you don't tell people that you're trying to keep them warm through the winter and all that shit. I mean, sorry, people don't care. To be frank, you just have to tell them what are you selling. I think in a way, but of course the feeling part may imply in different aspect. Andrew, you have anything to add on?
No, I think Manfred brought a very good point in the sense that a lot of people. I don't know about that.
No.
Honestly, I don't care. But if you there is always this fear when I tell my team, for example, okay, let's write something, and they say, let's do some copywriting. Everybody gets fear as if like, you're gonna do a science project. And Manfred has pointed out is copywriting is really not that difficult, because end of the day, you really don't need a master's in literature to actually do it. It's about dumbing down the language to the common people or the normal people, which normally that's what we communicate. We don't talk to each other using bombastic words to communicate. We're going to do the simplest. And the same thing when you write is you write even in email copywriting as well. Is email writing, for example. There's a lot of tools. They basically want to make sure that they test your writing is it like 7th grade level. And Donald Trump is actually correct. He's actually speaking at that level so that it's easier for everybody to understand.
Yeah, he's more higher level already. He said the 4th grade.
Yeah. No, like primary 4 level, primary 4.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know what's that's what it's all about. So when you write, it's not a so-called obviously the more experienced one will be able to put the words together so that it sounds nice. But generally speaking, the art in copywriting is more towards the editing, where you actually pick up, what are the words that you can throw. Basically, be it as lean as possible. So if you want to sell horses, what do you write? What's the headline you use? Simple. You use the headline "horses for sale."
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, right?
Nothing fancy.
And
correct.
yeah, so copywriting is not about being fancy. It's about talking to your audience or communicating to the audience, whether now it's social media or you do long form sales letter, irrespective. But if you made it as simple as possible and edit it so tight, where if you can one word can describe a whole sentence, use that one word. If one sentence can describe the whole paragraph, use that sentence. Right? Then be very economical about the language you use. Then the selling will become a little more easier.
I really want to.
It's not rocket science.
I totally agree. I really want to punch this a little bit because, to be very frank, Andrew and I recently we are working on a new course together. I'm not trying to plug this course, to be frank, but to be frank, we for the longest of my life, I'm really not good in email marketing, especially email copywriting. I suck at it, to be very frank. I'm that bad about this thing. But recent campaign that we did in the 6-day challenge, for those who actually kind of went through or heard of the 6-day challenge, Andrew worked with me. He actually crafted, he helped me with almost of the email. And you know what? The first 6-day challenge, we converted 80% of the sales from the email itself. So it's really amazing. And Andrew and I is going to put together this course to actually help more people learn a few things, because this is what I think. Other than the advertisement copywriting is one thing, which is really important for you to get the intention before the click. But what I'm actually trying to argue here is a lot of time, I believe a lot of marketers left a lot of money on the table after the click. You see, like for example, when you run a lot of ads, when you get a lot of leads coming in, chances are you're closing maybe just 1 to 3%. Okay, let's say for property developer, let's say for real estate marketing, you probably will close just 1%. This is the benchmark that we're looking at. So every 100 leads that you bring in, you only can close 1, and 99 of them left unused. So what we're actually trying to argue here is that if you're able to build a nurturing process, and along the way in 6 months to a year time, you convert another 5 to 10% out of these people, that's hell a lot of money, right? So, but a lot of people don't know how to structure this part. I didn't know how to do it well, and Andrew knows how to do it. So this course, you really want to pay attention to this scene if you're watching this, right? Oh, by the way, if you're watching this, if you have any questions to any one of us, you can type it into the comment right now. And then if you find whatever we are saying, although it's just 3 men yam away on a Friday night, oh, by the way, next week we're going to change it to Thursday. You know, it's a bit difficult on Friday already. So we do it on Thursday, same time, 10 p.m. You probably want to click follow or subscribe to the channel and all that so that you'll be notified whenever we plan to go live. You see, and if you have any topics that you wish us to cover, if you want us to talk about most of the things, in fact, we are, all of us combined, I think we have at least 25, 30 years of digital marketing experience. I think we'd all add up, right? We have quite something to offer. And I think
80% of the years come from Jason.
Right. No. Come on, I'm only 13 years. What the hell?
Hey, Jason.
But, yeah.
We can do some stuff like for dummies already, man. Facebook marketing for dummies. Well, that dummy series, make it as simple as possible. That'll be cool, man.
What do you mean? We come out live half an hour, talk about one topic, dummies.
No, we do courses for the dummy courses using the framework.
Dummies. I think can.
Yeah.
By the way, you talked about
our purpose in life is to simplify things.
Actually true. You say, this is also part of my learning as well, recent. Because for those who know me, right, I've been teaching for the past 5 years now, since 2016. So for the longest time when I was teaching, I was looking for a way to help people understand things better. And until recently, in fact, went through so many hassles, many years of training, 4,000 plus people that I've trained with. Only recent months, I think. I can easily say that it's only come to August, September, then I realized I found a way to teach better. Like recently, we are completing our 6-day challenge tomorrow, which is a new one. It's just open up, and for those who are interested, you can actually look out you just look for Tribe Academy, look for 6-day challenge, then you can go for that. And basically, what I'm actually experiencing here is this, you see the same framework that I've been preaching, the same two-step funnel framework that I've been preaching since 2016. I've been teaching people since 2017, 18 until now. When I was 2017, it would take me about a day or two to tell people about the whole concept, and they probably can't get maybe 30% of it. You know what happened right now? I can tell somebody who is totally new to Facebook advertising, half an hour later, he can set up the whole framework and show me how it's done. And that gives me so much satisfaction. And I think that's about simplifying the thing and make people understand. When people can get it right, then eventually this is how the message will travel. Yep. This is how things will transform people. I think that's eventually can relate back to the copywriting. You just want people to get what you want to tell them.
Correct.
Right?
Bottom line is this: we don't want to train F1 drivers.
That's right.
We want to train people to drive first. And once the moment they get the hang of driving, then they can go to other teachers who are F1 type of teachers, and then they progress in life. But the problem is, if you don't start moving, you will never reach the F1 level. So I think there's a gap in the sense that we could, simplify stuff, get them moving, start running ads, get some results, and then they can do the more complicated, things. I think that's a good point, especially now with the pandemic and all those things. The idea is to get everybody
right now.
Yeah, take small steps.
Yeah.
So the four dummies one, it could be interesting.
We can plan about this definitely.
Yeah.
And Manfred, if you have any course you want to teach, we work together. Yeah. Why not, right? You see, I think I'm not sure. this is already a sidetrack a little bit from whatever we're supposed to discuss. It's 3 men talking anyway.
Well,
you like it, you don't like it.
Friday,
well, anyway, so because I was just discussing with my coachee, very experienced a couple, they have been in the industry for a long time. They kind of like met so many people and they work with so many different so-called in terms of digital marketing and all that. What they say is like a lot of people in the market, they are not trying to bring people from point A to point B. They're just trying to give, let's say, for example, in a lot of times when people are looking for a website, they are not really looking for a website. They are looking to sell their product. But a lot of service providers out there, they will just tell people that, okay, so this is how much you need to pay me to get your website done. But they're not trying to solve the root problem, which is they need to learn how to sell a website. They need to learn how to sell through a website. So I think it's in a way, also in a way come back to the copywriting and teaching part maybe, or conveying the message. I think we need to sometimes, like what Andrew was just saying, when we are actually trying to market the same product even to a different market or different segment, we really have to look at the way how do we simplify and make the idea transform or being like kind of like being, expressed to these people and communicated well. Yeah.
There's always a market. There are different niches and those things. So I think our focus is because we came from, all of us started from nothing. We didn't know anything about ads. Didn't know anything about.
No idea.
And we stumbled across. So I think that experience that we have in that sense makes sense to a lot of people starting. So the moment they've got the idea, they're running they're getting some results. Okay, fine. Then let them move on to the Premier League level. And there are different type of coaches and different type of technical stuff. So yeah, I think we should focus on making things simple. I like simple stuff.
That's true. So let's sum it up about what we are supposed to discuss today. You talk about copywriting, but I think it's a good point. I think to sum it up, right, all of us agree on one thing, which is the simplicity. How do you make the message so clear and so simple, so understandable? Like how Donald Trump does it, and then Manfred was giving his prediction about the election. I don't know. So I think the bottom line is we want to get the message across. Instead, whether you're trying to sell, because different copywriting reason, different reason of you writing an ad, but bottom line, you want to get the message across and get people to take that action that you want them to take, which is after the click, which is to bring them over.
Yeah, three steps. There are just 3 steps. One is you need to spend a fair bit of time doing research, which a lot of people don't do, right? And research nowadays is easier because you really don't need to go to the library because it's right in front of you. Research from, let's say, for example, sites like Amazon, Reddit, forums, and all this for whatever products you have. The idea of the research is try to understand what sort of language that the prospects or your prospects are using, what sort of pain point, so that when you write your copy, it is in their language, not in your language.
That's right.
That's number one. Number two is my understanding a so-called side benefit of this research is you may be able to discover, for example, certain features of the product that people are more focused on. There was this ad, and till now I can still remember. The ad was from Toyota. It was produced in 2005. Technically speaking, it's a 15-year-old ad already.
Crazy, man.
And now, first thing first, when you talk about Toyota, what was the first thing that came to your mind? To me, was reliability. Affordable is something about reliability. A lot of people say when you buy Toyota, that's why the resale value they say is high.
Resale value, yes. So
there was this ad that they ran. It was about 2 guys driving on a desert road, for example, and there was this car that was broken down, and there was this really, really hot, sexy girl. Right?
Wow. Okay.
Her car broke down by the roadside.
Okay.
And it was a Toyota too, obviously. So these 2 guys, when they saw that, as in any guys, so they wanted to slow down and try to help the girl,
Mm-hmm.
And as they got closer and closer and they saw the car, the driver sort of immediately had a knee-jerk reaction and basically just speed off. And the passenger was saying, "Hey, guy, dude, what happened? Why aren't we helping the girl?" So the driver's response was very simple. Have you ever seen a Toyota broken down before?
Right. Okay.
And true enough, that particular girl was actually a devil in disguise.
Right.
Now, I'm sure this idea came from a copywriter, primarily because you're trying to, then goes back to the angles. When you have a problem and you have a solution, for example, once you identify that, the idea is to communicate it using different angles. It could be a form of storytelling like this. It could be a form of facts. It could be a form of data, or it could be a form of an experience or a testimonial. So that's the second one. The final one, basically, when you look at it, is basically the core concept. So every single ad you have, will be one particular message. In Toyota's case, was reliability.
Right.
Okay. So you only have one core concept to in Manfred's as what Manfred has mentioned is, you make it so simple. You only deliver one message. You can run multiple ads, right? And especially that's doable in Facebook. You know, you can do different targets, different audience, and you run multiple ads. And that would then appeal to different audience. For example, once you do your deep targeting. So basically, these three things: you do your research is very important, right? When David Ogilvy did the famous Rolls-Royce ad, for example, it took him 3 weeks to actually research about all the features and benefit about the car. And Rolls-Royce in those days, you know, I'm sure now it's still a very good quality car. Then the second thing is, once you have done that, so research, you spend more time doing that will help you. The second thing is when you identify the points, you know, list them down, because you can then use them interchangeably when you write your copy, right? And then focus on one particular core message per each ad. That will make writing a lot more simpler. So these are the three things that you could do to write. And because now we've broken down the myth that, you know, you got to be literally so-called expert or masters in English and literature, you don't need to. You write from your heart. You write as simple as possible, because at the end of the day, the 7th grade level is what we are aiming for.
Yeah.
Because real humans don't talk like Shakespeare.
That's for sure. Okay. I like the point. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's a takeaway.
I think we have quite a number of takeaway, but of course, we are not trying to really pinpoint how do you write in a sense. But I think the whole idea of this this episode, you know, I used to say too many lessons of teaching, all this kind of thing, right? I've been teaching. I just finished my day 5 just now. It was really, you know, fun. Anyway, sidetrack a bit. I think eventually, to sum it up again, you know, Manfred brought up about copywriting. I mean, research, and Andrew was talking about research, and we offered several ways of doing research. Whether we used a keyword planner from Google to look at our competitors' website to see the keywords that they're ranking for, and then or we actually used the Facebook ad library tool to spy on our so-called role model or competitors' website. The ads to see what are they doing to give us inspiration. You know, a lot of times it's about good marketers are copycats. Okay, so anyway, we're just trying to improvise. We're trying to get some idea. And the way we look at our internalization as I come to writing, we have several pieces over here. But to point it out, I think all of us agree on one thing, which is simplicity. You know, as in like one key message at a time, getting the message across to get people to take that particular action that we're aiming for. I think, can we agree on these are the few key things that we want our audiences to take away?
I hope so. I mean, it's as simple as it is.
Yeah, because it's like really to point it out to the simplicity. Now, I don't see any questions coming up. I guess everybody's kind of like just chilling. Probably they're just having fun partying while listening to us. I don't know why they are doing that while drinking. But anyway.
That's Thursday. See whether it works or not.
I'm not sure.
we
still have people watching, you know. We still have people staying with us. We have about 9% at the moment. We started quite okay, but, you know, eventually. But it's interesting. So, is there anything else you guys want to add on before we wrap this round?
Just to add a few more things in terms of copywriting, the guidelines that I always like to say this: give them what they want, sell them what they need. Because a lot of times nobody want to eat medicines, but you give them what they're supposed to achieve after having the medicines, then it works.
Right.
Because if you tell them about the medicines, they will remember it's very bitter. I don't want to take the medicine. So again, give them what they want, sell them what they need. So sometimes you give freebies and the benefits, then they will come. And the other thing is quite important is in terms of copywriting is show, don't tell. Don't tell them, say, I am the number one tuition center in Singapore for primary school. You must show them, hey, I have 10% of my students is all A's.
Right.
How I structure my team, what are the problems, common problems. You show them. To show them, you don't tell. You don't tell that I am just number one. It's not sufficient. Nobody will trust. You must show them exactly. Yeah.
Right. Right. I like that. I see. I mean, basically, just like credibility. Yeah, Andrew, you're saying?
Good point.
Of course, definitely. This is really somebody from Singapore. When he actually compete in the Singapore ads market, you have no idea, man. Singapore market, 4 times or 5 times our cost compared to Malaysia. So like crazy. So every dollar you spend, it's like you got to be really careful on that. That's why.
Sidetrack a bit. Sometimes
Go.
if the industry I'm not familiar, really, the research audit, and I like to write. I really like to run message campaign and let people talk to me. So you notice the words they use. I normally don't use these kind of words for, say, example, car industry. Then from your audience who actually click and come in and converse, you record down what are the words. Then you use it back for the ad itself. So a lot of times you have to be
crazy, man.
Yeah.
But I think it's valid. I think it's valid because like I always like to tell people, right? When it comes to copywriting, I'm always wrong. Why? Because why would I want to be right? It's the audience. I can never think like my audiences. So I like your approach. When you don't know about them, you actually try to talk to them and dig things from them. I think it works. I think it's valid. It's valid. I like the idea.
The market knows better.
Definitely.
The market knows better.
Definitely. All right, man. I think, guys, 47 minutes.
Wow.
Sorry, we talk a little bit too long. Sorry. I think I hope you enjoy this. And remember, we're gonna do this on moving forward. We're gonna do this on every Thursday, 10 p.m. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a message. And this is we have Manfred here. We have Andrew. This is the 3 Marketeers Show. If you like what we are doing, please click follow, subscribe, and all that. And then basically, I'll see you again in the next episode. Next episode, let's do a little bit of preview. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about audience targeting.
Yes.
Okay? Audience targeting. And this is also another topic that we have a lot of disagreement among us. So let's see how it will turn out next week. Audience targeting in Facebook advertising. So this is what we're going to cover next week. Stay with us. And next week, Thursday, 10 p.m. is going to be episode 3. This is the 3 Marketeers Show. I'm your host, Jason. We have Manfred, Andrew. I'll see you next week. Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers. Bye. Good night. Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Bye. Okay.